Yeah, the competition's been good. Out of respect, I don't want to give away who we're going to play, but we have made our decision on who we'll play tomorrow night. And again, I think that we'll be able to kind of go into the season with a number one consistent goalkeeper, and then it's obviously up for competition at the time. But I don't view it as something that we're going to flip flop every single game.
Okay, well,
What do you know about this Ottawa team and how will they challenge you with the amount of turnover they've had from last season to this season and it being so far in their preseason? Just what stands out about the challenge facing your team?
Yeah, I think. Well, first of all, it's a club that expects to win, right? That they're a club that wins the Canadian Premier League, really well coached, really well organized, and I think they're a product of sort of that coaching and that structure. Very, very consistent in the way that they approach matches, and really impressive from the sort of the analysis that we've done. And I know there's a lot of turnover and. But I think when you have a really good system and a good structure going in, then the pieces kind of become plug and play, and it's very clear the profiles that they look for. We've talked about the dynamic attacking group that they have, and then sort of the really, I would say, experienced and consistent back group. That they have, with their center backs and their two center midfielders. So I think it's going to be a really difficult match, one that I think is going to be highly competitive. But at the same time, because both of us are kind of early in the season, maybe also a little bit unpredictable.
okay. BJ, similar to the goalkeepers, I mean, I'm not gonna name any 11 starters tomorrow, but at the same time, is it still a back and forth in your mind about who you're gonna start, or it's pretty much set?
No, I think at this point, I think today's kind of solidified who our starting group will be. I think it's also really important to give the players that notification and that preparation. And so for us, again, the squad depth that we have, we're confident in everybody. We know when you play sort of right now this multiple competition where you're going to play on Tuesday and we're also going to have an MLS home game. We're going to be calling on a lot of guys over the next two games. So for us, we've had a good preseason to prepare, and everybody's been pretty much prepared equally.
Yeah, I know when you started, one of the objectives you set up was kind of just testing yourselves. I think you said like the elite clubs in North America. Where does this competition overall kind of fit into your goals for Nashville SC?
Yeah, this is sort of a next step for us. We earned the opportunity to be in CONCACAF Champions Cup, and it does open sort of the geographical landscape of who you're going to play and who you can play, and also the type of tournament it is. It's also one of the only tournaments where you play sort of these two legs and aggregate, maybe a bit sort of from the traditional standpoint. So that's ultimately what we're trying to do, is challenge ourselves against the elite and earn the opportunities to kind of advance through the rounds. And that starts with the first leg here versus Ottawa.
Okay.
Yeah, BJ, what does it do for the club to, have a competitive game in CONCACAF Championship, 4 days before opening the MLS season, and being able to get your feet wet against Ottawa?
Yeah, I think we're at a point with everybody that we're ready to play, not ourselves in training and play real competitive matches. And so I think we're, being professional, we all want to go and compete. And I think everybody's pretty excited about that chance to compete, but to compete in a meaningful way where trophies are on the line.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting how Mike said you don't want to rebuild, the goal is to reload. How would you describe how that process has gone going into match one?
Yeah, I think you've seen from sort of the signings that we made in the offseason. I think they've been sort of strategic, but they've also been in this idea to try to elevate the group, whether that's on the sort of what we call like the top end of the roster, or even the, sort of the young group, the young guys that come in. And so I think we've done well in there, and we expect a lot of these guys to get opportunities over the next 2 months or 3 months that we kind of have in the beginning part of this season. So I think, there's been good competition in the group. The guys that are new have raised the level, and the guys that have been here have to continue to reach and push the level.
Great. And I know you've had preseason games. You kind of touched on this, but it's something to start the season. Something else to start playing for a trophy. I mean, how much pressure does that put on you, and maybe how much does that kickstart things for you guys that you have to start fast?
Yeah, I think there's the element of like we have to go on the road with our first game and go play against a team that we've never sort of played before in competitive way. So it's how it goes, and there is definitely more I would say more urgency and more intensity to it, because it's not a 34 game season. We have 2 guaranteed games in CONCACAF Champions Cup, and we have to perform there. So for sure, there's always a added level of intensity, and I would say most importantly, an added level of like urgency to how we're going to have to go about it.
And speaking of starting fast or having to that urgency right away tomorrow, what might be 2 keys you're really emphasizing to your club ahead of the first match?
Yeah, first, congrats on the Emmy. Let's talk about us. There's more recognition for you. So congrats, Joe. I mean, honestly, the messages that we've had is that we want to be as consistent as possible, and we want to go up there. It's the first game of the year, and we want to play the way that we've been training to do. That's how we're really going to evaluate tomorrow night's performance, is kind of doing what we say we want to do. And it sounds simple, but it's not always, because the opponent's there to disrupt you, and you're playing against somebody else who wants to win the game as well. So for us, there's not a whole lot of, I would say, levels of detail. It's really about, hey, we've been working for 6 weeks here. No matter who we call on, we want to play a certain way, and can we do that? And can we effectively do it by playing that way for 90 minutes and getting a result?
BJ, you guys in the group last year had an opportunity in this. What did you learn from that helps manage kind of the schedule early in the season, and frankly, what your expectations are this time around in this tournament?
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic for us, because most of the time you get schedule congestion middle and later in time. This is right away in the front end. But I think the biggest thing that we were able to take away is, I keep saying that you're going to call on everybody and everyone's going to have a moment or an opportunity. A lot of times that can sound like coach speak until it actually happens. And last year we had that opportunity making the US Open Cup run. You saw a lot of guys contribute in key ways, even in games that kind of, go a different way, like the DC United game, for example. So like what you learn about in these moments is you don't know who's going to step up, but every guy needs to be prepared to make a play when their number's called.
We'll go to Valera on Zoom. You might be muted, Valera.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, yep. I didn't have the ability to unmute, so thank you. BJ, for most fans, all they have seen this season from Nashville SC is just a couple of clips on social media in terms of what goals they've been scored. So what are some of the biggest differences you'd say that we'll see starting tomorrow on the pitch for fans to kind of look out for?
Well, I hope they continue to see more goals scored on social media. That's the first part. That's a positive sign. For us, again, it's about we still want to be a very aggressive team. We want to be a team that goes after the goal, that creates good goal scoring chances. We also want to be a team that's ruthless in offensive transition. That's going to be a big aspect, I think, for us. And we want to be a team that's going to be really difficult to break down. So our compactness, our ability to, I would say defend together is going to be really points of emphasis, and something that we want to, kind of continue to build and grow and develop in this early part of the season.
We'll go to Jose.
And then,
Sorry, but we only got time. We'll go to Jose on Zoom with the last question, and we'll have Hany.
Thank you. Coach, I wanted to ask you about the Honduran duo, Brian and Andy. Can we expect a similar role from them as we saw last year in 2026? And also, how much can you rely on them during international competition? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think, when we speak specifically about Andy, if he can replicate the same year that he had last year, everybody at Nashville will be happy. But honestly, with Andy, we expect him to be a dangerous attacking player for us, and also at the same time being committed and executing well on the defensive side. And that's sort of the demand for Andy. And for me, with Brian, I think what we've been able to learn with Brian, and the reason we brought him back, is because he's really versatile. I think positionally he's versatile. And I think the skill set that he has is one that you can see him as a starter and playing, big minutes. He's a player that has a profile that if you're up a goal and you need to close out a game, he can duel, he can tackle, and he can cover ground. And then if you're winning, he has the ability to get out of pressure and play big long passes that exploit the space behind the back line if the opponent's being aggressive. So I think, with Brian, you see different types of scenarios that we can utilize him this year.
All right, thanks, coach. Thanks, guys. We'll be right back with. All right, guys, we'll get started with Hany now, and we'll start virtually this time. So go ahead, Willard.
Hey, Hany. Just really quickly on terms of the last season, there was a team goal in terms of how many goals you'll score in the season. I think that was set at like 50, I believe, in MLS. So what are some of the goals going into the season starting tomorrow that you guys will be pushing for?
Yeah, we know that around 50, 55 goals brings us to the playoffs. We have high goals this year, and we want to get off a good start. But now our full focus is on the Canada game, and we will try to advance there, and then we will have the full focus of for the MLS.
Go ahead, Jose.
Thank you, Hany. How big a motivation is this tournament? I know it's very early for you guys, and you're just coming off preseason. You don't even have a regular season game. But how big a motivation is it to think about the Club World Cup and what this tournament can mean for Nashville? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it is a big motivation. It could be possibly the biggest tournament we play in. So we know about the size and about the importance for the club and for us players. But the full focus is first to get to beat Ottawa, and then go to the next game.
Good, John.
What excites you the most about this group this year?
I think we have a very diverse group. It is amazing guys. We got younger, a lot of energy in the group. We laugh a lot. So yeah, we had good 4 or 5 weeks growing together. Of course, it takes time to see all the connections on the field, but I'm very excited. And first of all, they are very good guys.
Correct.
With the addition of Christian and Andy playing more of a midfield attacking role, how much more dynamic do you think you guys will be offensively?
Yeah, I mean, Christian Espinosa is a really, really good addition. He has shown it and proven in this league to be one of the best players. He gives us a different look. He's very vertical and very direct. For Andy and me on our side, that will give us the freedom we need. I think we are very excited that he's there, and we have a great connection, and we can't wait to see it in the real match.
Laura.
I mean, we were just talking to Mike. He said the goal is not to rebuild, but to reload the roster. How have you seen the club do that leading up to match one?
Yeah, I mean, it shows the next step, the next levels we have done in the last 1-2 years. That someone like Christian Espinosa, on a free agent, comes to us. That is tremendous work from the club, and also the addition of Maxwell and the other guys. We have so many new guys. Very young, talented guys who have options to go to other clubs, but they decide to come here. And you see that Nashville is a really attractive place to come. And we definitely have to not rebuild, but we have to put layers on it. And I think we can make the next step. We have good players coming to the team, and the goal is to grow together, because we know we need to be a strong team and have strong relationships, and that's the only way how we can make the next step in our franchise.
Yeah. Hany, what are the main things tactically or strategically you're expecting to see from Ottawa, and what do you feel are the main ways you're preparing to counteract those things?
Should have asked BJ. He would have answered that in more detail. But yeah, I think we are well prepared. We watched film. Will be a difficult game on turf. That's not what we're used to, but there are no excuses. I think we practiced today on turf, and we have to get used to it. So yeah, they are a very ball possession team, very similar like Columbus. They want to dictate the game. They want to have the ball. But yeah, we saw the video, we watched the film, and we have to make the most out of it.
Yeah, Hany, obviously you guys have played in CONCACAF before, but just kind of from a big picture perspective, how important is it for Nashville to be in this tournament and to make a deep run, to have a chance to not just play the best teams in MLS, but the best teams in the continent?
Yeah, I think it's very important because like we have a good reputation in the MLS, but I think like in the continent, or we haven't done our best, and we haven't shown our best. And I think it's this year time. We have to go step by step. We know that the importance of the tournament, but you have to win the first games to make it further. Yeah.
Yeah, Claire. Hany, you're probably the most experienced guy in the team, if not one of the most experienced guys in terms of playing internationally. You personally, how do you take when you know you're going to have to play abroad in a competition like this?
Yeah, it's very important that the whole team, and we talked about it in the video today, that you understand that's 2 games. It's important to get a solid result away, and then that you come home and have to close the chapter. But for me, is from my experience, it's very important to make sure that these are 2 games. It's not just one game, and we have to have in mind that we go there, and goal difference are important. So that is a different way of going about a business. Like if it's just one game, you give it all, but that you come home and have home advantage and then the chance to advance.
Go ahead, Will, last question.
Hany, with the club announcing a contract extension for BJ today, how exciting is that for you, and where have you seen BJ maybe have the biggest impact for you as an individual, as a coach, and on this entire team?
I think we have seen his impact immense the last year. He have shown his quality, his idea how he wants to play, and I can give a lot of credit to him because it's not easy to come to a team which have a certain way of playing, and he changed the DNA, he changed the ideas. We took it on board, and I think we have been successful so far, but I know that he wants to go higher, and we as a franchise wants to go higher and reach the next levels. So there's still a lot of work to do, but he has done a tremendous job so far.